We're gonna throw together a cinnamon raisin loaf real quick. Guys, I overslept. I meant to do this like 2 hours ago with you, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm gonna start with not my starter. 300. I thought about going a little heavier on the water than I usually do. I usually always do 325. Let's see. 338. Perfect. That's what I was going for. Okay, and then we're gonna do 100 grams of starter, the dough. And it's honestly so forgiving. My starter slept in its new Dollar General dupe Weck jar last night. I think it slept good. Just love these jars because they have such a wide mouth on them and they're so easy to use. The lid just sits on the top. Like my Wilton sourdough whisk, honestly, I don't know if it's just because I'm in a mood or something, but getting a little, might have to just stop talking about it. So I was just saying to my husband, can you believe they have not making one? I just can't believe it. The amount of whisk that they could sell, especially if they came out with like a multicolor line, like a fresh like summer. Every season they could come out with like a new line of like different shades or something. At this point I'm gonna need like the DG to make a knockoff one. If they can do the knockoff Weck jar, they could do a knockoff Wilton sourdough whisk. Staying pretty faithful to Wilton, and I'm still holding on hope, but feeling a little hopeless. Ruby, Jessie just got out of bed. It's 8:09 a.m. I had to make her get out of bed. That took forever, but that's 502 grams of flour, 10 grams of salt. Taking my no-name whisk and mixing this until shaggy dough. Did I already say this is going to be a cinnamon raisin? It's also, I don't put any sugar in my cinnamon raisin. Some people put brown sugar. Raisins just give the dough its own like natural sweetness, so I don't find a need to add sugar, but you definitely could. You could throw in like 50 grams right here if you wanted when you're initially mixing, just to give it, an added sweetness. I will say this thing gets my bowl nice and clean. Look at that. I love it. I'm not making any communion bread today. Usually I bake the communion bread with you all today, but it's my first weekend since we've started the church. We're planting a church right now, but this is the first week I think that I haven't made the communion bread. We do weekly communion. Very weird. We're just gonna stop and pick some up on the way. A little weird, honestly. I'm just gonna take my hand and mix this. Oh, it feels so nice. It feels so nice. I'm gonna mix just for a couple minutes until it starts minding its own business and a little strength gets started in there. Even though this dough looks nice and creamy, I can still feel like globs of dried flour in there. You don't want that. You want to get that worked in. You don't ever want dry flour sitting in your dough or your starter. Take a couple minutes and just work it in. You don't gotta go crazy. Guys, I overslept so bad. We're starting to watch The Young Sherlock. That is a really good show on Prime. And I kind of overdosed on chocolate chip cookies. So I think between just like everything, Big Mama needed to sleep in. Sleeping in is like 7 a.m. to me. Brutus is here. Should we say good morning? Say good morning. She's like, leave me alone. Let me drink. Coming together really nicely. This is what I mean when I say the dough starts minding its own business. Just pulls right out of the bowl. Bowl is pulling clean and wants to stay together. My starter is really happy and healthy right now, and you can honestly feel such a difference in your dough, even right now up front, if your starter's healthy. If your starter's not healthy, you could have all sorts of problems, especially with bulk fermentation. It's just going to be wonky and hard to read. I always recommend focusing on your starter first. Only going to let this rest honestly like 10 minutes, and we're going to throw the raisins in, do our first round of stretch and folds because I'm leaving in like 50 minutes. Want to get a few rounds in before we leave just to build strength. I am going to bake this in as a boule in the Dutch oven again because I want to see, remember how nice my boule just turned out, Lori's loaf? It tasted so different than the loaf pans. I want to see if it happens again with the cinnamon raisin as well. Because if it does, we might be converting back. All right, be right back. It's been about 20 minutes. We're gonna add our raisins real quick. I do like to wet my hand just so the dough doesn't stick. I'm not adding any cinnamon until shaping at the very end. Don't measure the raisins. Just do whatever you want. It's not a big deal. Putting like this much and going to fold. Each new fold, say it with me, gets more inclusion. I've thought about doing YouTube because YouTube is obviously a more like long form content, but I feel like all of my stuff on here is long form content. It would be redundant. I don't know. Do you guys watch YouTube? I only use YouTube if I'm like researching something or true crime, honestly. Annie Elise and Christina Randall. And then, or I'm like researching something. Let me know what you think. Not opposed to it. All right, that's what it's looking like. I'm gonna come back and hit it with as many more rounds as I can before we leave. Preferably 2 more, but hopefully 3 more. Separated by 10-15 minutes. Wait in 10 to 15 minutes, come back, do it again. Wait, do it again. Wait, 10-15, do it again. Then it's just gonna ride out low and slow on my counter. My house sits at around like 65 degrees. I'm not gonna do anything to control the temperature of this dough. It's just gonna sit right here. Really cool. It is 8:33 in the morning. This is probably gonna ride out until like beyond like dinner time tonight. 10-11 hours bulk fermentation. It's gonna have a nice cool long bulk fermentation, so that's gonna make the dough more sour. Then it is gonna get a cold proof. That's also going to help the sourness pull through. Your sour smelling starter is not what makes the dough sour. I didn't know if you know that. It's the low and slow temperature, long bulk fermentation, and then a cold proof. Both of those things produce a sour loaf. Okay, we'll be back to shape it later. Goodbye. I almost just said love you, bye.